So I had already uploaded this video into YouTube, but YouTube flagged it. So I appealed their flagging of the video, but YouTube rejected my appeal and they kept it flagged. So I guess YouTube doesn't want me to be able to warn you about what foreign actors are planning for our country. So I edited this video to take out the foreign actors that I'm talking about, and I've also blacked out anytime I show a photo of them. And then I re-uploaded this video that you're watching here, hoping that since I censored it, that YouTube will no longer flag it. Again, you should come to Rumble to watch your videos. Rumble doesn't censor us like YouTube does, and I will put a link to the unedited video that you can watch on Rumble. But here's the edited and censored version on YouTube. And I hope I'm wrong. My God, I hope I'm wrong. But man, I've got a sinking feeling on this. So, okay folks, before I go any further in this video, I want you to keep these 3 points in your mind for the rest of this video. In just the past 4 years alone, 385, yes, I said 385 suspected were caught trying to cross our southern border into the United States. And those were the ones that were actually caught with that wide open border that we've had for the past 4 years. And folks, if you're wondering what I'm doing here, I am tapping my maple trees to make maple syrup, and I figured I'd film a video while I was doing it. Now, for all of the that did not get caught and that successfully snuck into our country, they would only have to take out 9. Yes, you heard me correct. Only 9 of those high voltage transformers to take out, I think, the whole grid across the whole United States. And these high voltage transformers that the could take out, these things are so huge that it would take months for the government to get those replaced. These transformers are so huge in size that many times the government has to completely remove a highway overpass just so they can transport that transformer where it needs to go. So just to recap, important point number 1, we almost certainly have a buttload of inside of our country due to the wide open border that we've had the past 4 years. Important point number 2, those will only have to take out 9 of those high voltage transformers to take out the entire electrical grid across the country. And important point number 3 is that it would take at least months to get those transformers replaced and get our grid working again. And folks, I am honestly not trying to do fear porn in this video. I am honestly just trying to give fair warning for what I really believe is in store for you and I in the very near future. But first, for new viewers, welcome to my channel, also my bug out location. So please consider subscribing to the channel and giving this video the thumbs up if you like this kind of content that the mainstream media typically hides. So I have a sinking feeling in the bottom of my stomach of what I really feel like is a high likelihood that's coming to the United States, that's coming for you and I. And folks, my gut feeling on this, and in a few minutes I'll explain of why I've got this gut feeling, but my gut feeling is that when these attacks happen, that it's going to make September 11th pale in comparison. And I've never said this before, but I'm gonna almost call this a prediction here, and I hope I'm wrong. My God, I hope I'm wrong. But my pretty much prediction is that are going to carry out mass killings across the United States in multiple cities, pretty much all at the same time. Again, across the whole country in multiple cities, mass casualty events caused by these. There's the old saying is that to defeat the devil, you have to think like the devil. And my belief is that these will hit soft targets, again, all at the same time across this country, but they will hit soft targets like shopping malls, sports venues, and God forbid our precious children inside their schools. Now, whether these use where there's a group of them that's all armed with rifles and they go on a shooting spree in some really highly populated areas in multiple cities across the country, or whether they use multiple car bombs, or they're using drones, or a combination of all 3. But again, my thing is I just have this horrible gut feeling that they're going to do multiple of these mass casualty events all at the same time or near the same time, again, across the United States, and multiple of these things happening almost all at once. And then the second part of, and I hate to say this, my prediction, my gut feeling, is that not only will these, carry out multiple mass casualty events across the United States, but at the same time, or maybe just right before, they're also going to hit our power grid and take down the power grid across the whole country, again, all at once. And one of the reasons I think they might take down the power grid right before they do these mass casualty events is, if you think about it, if they take down the power grid and they knock out our electricity, that's going to make it a lot more difficult for the first responders to respond to these mass casualty events as they're carrying them out. I mean, when you can stop the radio systems and the command centers and stuff like that from working, that will make the first responders a lot less effective in their response. And like I mentioned towards the beginning of the video, is just a simple, sad truth, and this is pretty widely known. A simple, sad truth is that these only have to take out only nine of those high voltage transformers to knock out the electricity, their grid across the whole country. And folks, really fast, if you're watching this video on YouTube, you should come over to Rumble to watch my channel. Rumble does not censor us like YouTube does, so to find my channel on Rumble, just type ethical preparedness in the search bar. And again, folks, I am not trying to do fear porn here. I honestly have a sinking, sickening feeling in my gut that this is on the very near horizon. I'm talking within the next 4 years. Folks, I am just trying to give you a warning about this so that you can either A, prepare for this, or B, use the information in this video to make your own informed decision if you think I'm nuts or not. But I have actually believed for about 7 years now that are going to carry out multiple mass casualty events across the United States all at once. And in fact, 7 years ago, I did a video series called Interactive SHTF Scenario Story, where the story in those video series is exactly what I'm talking about in this video. The difference is that when I did that video series 7 years ago, I just believed it was going to happen at some point in the future. But now I believe that this is going to happen within the next 4 years, if not sooner. Now let me explain of why I think this is going to happen within the next 4 years. My personal belief is that with our wide open border that we've had the past 4 years, is that have been sneaking into this country in large numbers, again, over the past 4 years. And like I mentioned earlier in the video, 385 suspected were caught just in the past 4 years, and that is the ones that did get caught in that wide open border. So how many thousands or hundreds, whatever the large number is, how many of these do we have in cells across this country as this video is being filmed? Now, my belief is that while the border was wide open, that the would not want to pull off these mass casualty events across the whole country, because while the border was wide open, why pull off the attacks then? With a wide open border, you could just continue having more of your come in, because the more that you have come in, the larger of a mass casualty event or an attack or death and destruction that they could cause. And I believe what is going to set them into saying, okay, now we need to quit having the come in and now set this attack into real planning or into real motion, is when the border gets closed. And as we have seen since President Trump has gotten elected, and folks, don't get me wrong when I say this, I voted for him and I completely support the closure of our borders, but as we have seen, President Trump is working hard on closing our borders, so I think that is what is going to prompt the to actually start putting this massive attacks across our country into motion. Now the big question is are these attacks going to happen tomorrow or next week or next month or next year? I don't know. I just have a sinking gut feeling it's going to happen within the next 4 years. And now we have to look into of what would be the purpose for the to carry out multiple mass killings across our country all in one day or all at the same time. And their purpose for doing that would be because it would cause a massive economic and financial collapse of the United States. You just have to think about this. If you're at work and all of a sudden you start hearing about all these multiple mass killings, all of these shopping malls getting shot up, all of these schools getting shot up, and thousands of people being killed across this country, again, spread across the whole country, the first thing you're going to do is you are going to leave work, you're going to go get your kids from their school, and you're going to head home and you're going to hunker down for your safety and your kids' safety. And then even if you don't have children, more than likely your work is going to get shut down because the also hit the power grid, so you're not going to have power at your company. And then even shopping centers and grocery stores will even shut down because they will be afraid that they're going to be the next target. Now, something else that we have to remember is that when the power grid is knocked out, along with the thousands of people that gets killed across our country, but when that power grid gets knocked out, ATMs are not working, gas stations aren't working, grocery stores, their cash registers aren't working, food is not being chilled and kept frozen and is spoiling. Food warehouses aren't going to be processing and packaging the food that you buy in the grocery store. Trucks will not be able to deliver food from the food warehouses to the grocery stores, and our pharmacies will be shut down. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, these high voltage transformers, again, where they only had to take 9 of them out to shut the whole country down, these things are so huge, it will take months for our country to get those replaced so we would actually get the grid working again. First, what we have going against us is that many of these transformers are made in China. And from reports that I've heard, China has put malware in them or did whatever to them that with a push of a button in China that could shut down these transformers. And another thing to remember about these is that these things are huge. I don't think enough people understand just how huge they are because these things can weigh up to 80 tons. So this is just not something that you can just throw on the back of a truck and just transport it where it needs to go. And just like I said earlier at the beginning of the video, these things are so huge that many times they have to completely remove overhead passes, highway overhead passes, just so they can get that transformer through to where they are getting it. So my belief is that once you combine everything, everybody's at home hunkered down because they're afraid if they go out that they get shot and killed. Nobody's working. Businesses are shut down because A, nobody's going to the businesses, and B, the businesses don't even have electricity to run. I think that once you have all of that happening is that it will cause a massive downward spiral into a major financial and economic collapse for the United States. On top of the thousands and thousands of dead people murdered by those evil that we will also have a massive economic collapse that will also start leading into starvation. Well, I'm not going to tell you what you should do to prepare for this, but I will tell you what I am doing to prepare. The first thing is that when those gunshots start happening, or those car bombs start happening, or however the are killing thousands of people across this country all at the same time, I am not going to rush here to my bug out location when everybody else is trying to rush home and causing traffic jams. I will wait for a few days, let the traffic die down, and then come here. And then the next big thing is going to be food. And I've got that covered because I've got enough food to feed my family for a year. But I believe that within a week or a couple weeks, you're going to start having hunger set in. So I want to make sure that I have my family fed, which I do. And then the next big thing is that if and when water stops running out of our faucets, that my family doesn't die of thirst. And luckily I have multiple water sources here at the bug out location and more than one way to not just filter it, but to actually purify it. And then another big one is medicine. And I keep myself healthy enough that I am not on any prescription medicines, But even for the regular stuff like headaches, backaches, skin cuts, just regular stuff like that, I've learned how to make all those medicines from the weeds that grow around me. And if you would like a copy of the book that I wrote, a hard copy of the book that I wrote, where it teaches you how to make bunches of different medicines from the weeds and trees that grow around you, I'll put a link to it down below. You can check that book out if you want to. And then for electricity, I have several of those solar generators that will allow me to recharge my cell phones, or really important here, recharge my ham radios, or at least keep a lamp on at night if I can safely do so. And while I won't be living in the lap of luxury, at least I'll have something. And then if it gets cold outside, I have a bunch of firewood and a wood-burning stove. Now folks, I pray and I hope that I am completely wrong on this, but man, I've got a sinking feeling on this. So why don't you tell me what you think are the chances that we're gonna have a massive attack, nationwide attacks, like I described in the video. Comment down below with what you think the chances of that happening within the next 4 years are. And then if these attacks do happen, what will you do for your cholesterol medicine or your high blood pressure medicine? Or how will you kill intestinal parasites inside of you because you drink tainted water after a collapse? Well, to see a whole playlist of where I show you how to make those kinds of medicine, again, using the weeds and the trees that grow around you, then click on the video that should be appearing on the screen just about now to learn what most other people and preppers don't know. Anyways, folks, this is enough internet for me today. I do have work I need to do. But folks, if you made it this far, hey, thank you very much for watching. And I pray that you have a good night.